Welcome to Tile Choices Podcast, the podcast where tile meets creativity and craftsmanship. Hosted by Bruno and Maria, we're diving into the world of tile, from the latest design trends and must-know installation tips to product insights and real-world experiences. Whether you're a DIYer, interior designer, or seasoned contractor, there's something here for everyone who loves transforming spaces one tile at a time. So grab your coffee, put on your headphones, and let's talk tile. Because at Tile Choices, it's more than a surface, it's a statement.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Maria, and today we are going into a topic that sounds a little technical, but is actually super personal, not falling on your face in the shower. I'm here with Bruno Mendolini. Ciao, Bruno.
Ciao, Maria. Ciao, everybody. Yeah, today is, how you say it, not sexy, but very important. Slips in the shower. This is serious.
Yeah, it is. If you look at the accident stats, depending on the country and the study, bathrooms and especially showers and tubs are consistently at the top for home injuries. Wet surface, soap, shampoo, smooth tile, it's like a little ice rink in there.
Exactly. And kids and older adults, they pay the price. The kids, they jump around, they play, they don't think. And older people, maybe balance is not so good, maybe they have less strength to catch themselves. So a small slip becomes a big problem.
I did a project a few years ago, beautiful modern bathroom, really minimal. The client wanted big, glossy, marble-look tiles everywhere, including the shower floor. It photographed like a dream. It was like a spa in a hotel magazine. And then she called me after a week and said, "Maria, I love it, but I'm terrified every time I shower."
I know this story. Beautiful but dangerous. I had one builder, he used a polished porcelain on the floor because the client saw it in a showroom under dry condition. Under the water with soap, it was like skating. They had to redo the floor. Expensive lesson.
Yeah, and that's why we want to catch this at the design stage, because once it's installed, changing the shower floor is not simple, not cheap. So let's just define the word we keep throwing around, anti-slip.
Right. Anti-slip in tile, it doesn't mean you will never slip. It means the surface has more grip, more friction, especially when it is wet. Some tiles are tested for this, some manufacturers use ratings or specific terms, but the idea is the tile is designed to reduce the risk of slipping.
And you'll hear different languages around this, slip resistant, high traction, sometimes you'll see outdoor or pool rated tiles. All of that is about the same concept. How well does this surface let your foot bite into it instead of sliding?
So, for any remodel, any new build, shower floor should never be an afterthought. For me, it's like you choose waterproofing, you choose drain location, and you choose an anti-slip floor. Non-negotiable. Even if the client says, "But I want the shiny tile."
Exactly. You can still have that spa look, but the baseline is safe under bare, soapy feet. Today, we're going to break down what that means, how to read the numbers, and which tiles actually work in real life, not just on Instagram.
And we try to keep it simple, no crazy engineering class. Just what you need to ask for and what to avoid so you don't create the beautiful but dangerous shower.
All right, let's talk about this scary sounding thing, DCOF. It stands for Dynamic Coefficient of Friction. I know it sounds like physics homework.
Yeah, but the idea is simple. Friction is just how much two surfaces resist sliding past each other. So DCOF is how slippery is this tile when something moves across it like your foot, especially when it's wet.
Static friction is like if you're standing still. Dynamic is when you start moving, when the slip actually happens. That's why this test matters for real-world walking, especially in wet areas like showers.
Most porcelain tile today, at least in North America, is tested with a standard method in wet condition. You will see a number on the technical sheet, something like 0.42, 0.50, 0.60, higher number generally more slip resistant.
And there are industry recommendations. They vary a little by country and standard, but for indoor wet areas, many professionals aim for at least around 0.42 or higher in the wet DCOF rating. Some designers, especially for shower floors, are more comfortable if it's in the 0.50 plus range.
Exactly. We don't want to pretend there is one magic number for everybody, but if I see a wet DCOF that is much lower than that, I say no grazie for the shower floor. It might be okay for walls, but not where you stand with soap on your feet.
So how do you find this number? If you're a homeowner, go to the manufacturer's website, look for technical data sheet or spec sheet. There's usually a little table with water absorption, PEI rating, and somewhere it says DCOF or wet DCOF.
If it's not easy to find, ask. Good tile showrooms can pull this up for you. Designers and architects, this should be in your specification. Minimum DCOF requirement for the shower floor tile.
Now, I want to be super clear on the limits of this. A high DCOF doesn't mean you can ignore everything else. If the shower has no slope and water pools, or if you have heavy soap scum and body oils building up, even a good tile can feel slick.
And also installation. If there is lippage, those little edges sticking up between tiles, you can catch your foot. You change how your weight is on the surface. So the test is done in ideal condition, flat, clean, uniform. Real life is not always like that.
Yeah, think of DCOF as your starting filter. You pick products that meet a solid wet slip resistance number, then you still need smart design, good installer, and regular cleaning. All of those together give you a safe shower.
So, check the number, ask for the number, and if there is no information at all, I would be very careful using that tile on a shower floor.
Let's move into the fun part, actual tile choices. Because people always ask, okay, Maria, what should I put on my shower floor?
Yeah, we hear this every day. And the good news, you have options. The big categories we see a lot are small porcelain mosaics, textured porcelain field tile, natural stone that is honed, and those pebble or river rock sheets.
Let's start with small porcelain mosaics. These are little pieces like 2x2, 2x1, penny rounds, hexes, mounted on a mesh sheet. Functionally, they're great because there are a lot of grout joints, and grout lines are like built-in traction stripes.
Exactly. Your foot feels the valleys and the edges, so even if the tile itself is not super rough, the pattern gives grip. They also follow the slope to the drain nicely, especially in smaller showers. For durability, porcelain is fantastic, very low absorption, very strong.
Maintenance-wise, you do have more grout to clean. That's the trade-off. But if you pick a good grout and keep up with cleaning, it's manageable. Cost is usually mid-range, depends on style, but it's often more affordable than big slab stone.
Then we have textured porcelain field tile. Bigger pieces, maybe 6x6, 6x12, sometimes larger, with a structured or matte finish. Many manufacturers make special grip versions for floors, including showers and pool decks.
These can look very sleek and you have fewer grout joints, which some people love for cleaning. But fewer grout lines can mean a little less traction, so here the surface texture and DCOF rating become extra important.
Right. And also size. In a small shower, a very large tile is harder to slope nicely to the drain without creating lippage. Medium-sized pieces with a slip-resistant finish can work very well if your installer knows what they're doing.
Next, natural stone, honed finish, so not shiny, more of a soft matte. Think marble, limestone, travertine. These look luxurious, very high-end, but they're more porous and usually need sealing, sometimes regular resealing, to stay protected.
And some stones can get more slippery when they are polished or when they wear. Honed normally has better traction, but it depends on the specific stone. Also, some stones can etch or stain from soaps, shampoos, hard water. So for low-maintenance clients, I'm more careful here.
Finally, pebble or river rock sheets. These are very popular for that spa, natural river look. Because they're so irregular, you get tons of tiny contact points and grout joints, which can feel very grippy underfoot.
But big but here, also a lot of grout. A lot. If the stones are very rounded and set too high above the grout, they can create pressure points on your feet and even be a little uncomfortable. Plus more maintenance for the grout and maybe the stone itself.
So quick summary, smaller tiles with more grout lines usually perform best for traction. Porcelain is king for durability and low maintenance. Stone and pebbles can be gorgeous but bring more care and sometimes more cost. You match the option to how you live and how much upkeep you're realistically gonna do. Now I can hear the design lovers saying, okay, safety, sure, but I still want it to look amazing. You can absolutely have both. Let's talk finishes first.
Yes. On the floor of the shower, high gloss is almost always a bad idea. Polished or super shiny glazes reflect the light beautifully, but when they are wet with soap, they can be extremely slippery.
So we're looking instead for matte, honed, or textured finishes. Matte porcelain, for example, often already has better slip resistance. Textured surfaces like a subtle stone texture or a grip finish add more bite under the foot.
Honed stone is similar idea. The shine is taken off, you get this soft, velvety surface. Not all honed stone is automatically non-slip, but generally it's better than the polished version. And some manufacturers label specific finishes for wet barefoot areas.
Then we get into patterns and formats: hex tiles, penny rounds, basket weave, herringbone. These are not just pretty, they naturally add traction because of all those grout lines and direction changes.
Exactly. A 1-inch or 2-inch hex mosaic gives you many little edges. Herringbone with small rectangles has this nice zigzag where your foot is never just sliding in one straight line. Even a simple 2x2 grid pattern, if the grout is done well, helps a lot.
One trick I like: use the same color family as your wall tile, but change the size and texture on the floor. So maybe you have a large, smooth white tile on the walls and then a small matte white hex on the floor. It looks intentional, like a design decision, not like you tacked on a safety tile at the last minute.
Yes, coordination is key. You can repeat the same porcelain collection but choose the mosaic version for the shower floor if it has a suitable slip rating. Many tile lines are designed exactly this way. Big tiles for walls, mosaics for floors, all matching.
You can also play with contrast carefully, maybe a slightly darker textured floor against lighter walls. That gives visual interest and helps people see the edge of the shower area more clearly. Useful for older eyes, by the way.
But I would avoid super high contrast on every tiny tile if the person has balance issues. Too much pattern can be visually confusing, so there is a balance between interesting and overwhelming.
Yeah, we want calm but thoughtful. The big takeaway: you don't need to choose between beautiful and safe. Choose matte or textured over glossy for the floor, lean into smaller formats and interesting patterns, and then tie it into your wall tile so it looks like one cohesive design story. Okay, Bruno, this is where your installer brain kicks in. We picked the right tile, but if it's installed badly, it can still be a problem.
Oh yes, we can ruin a perfect tile with bad installation. First big thing, slope to the drain. If the floor doesn't slope correctly, water sits there. Puddles with soap are dangerous, and also they grow slime, mold, all the nice things.
There are recommended slope ranges in industry standards, usually a gentle slope so water moves but you don't feel like you're standing on a ramp. Homeowners don't need the exact number, but you can absolutely ask your installer: how are you creating the slope, and how will you avoid flat spots where water collects?
Next is lippage control. Lippage is when one tile edge is higher than the next one. Even a millimeter or two can catch a bare foot or make you feel unstable. With mosaics it is less dramatic, but with larger tiles it is a big deal.
Then there's grout choice. The width and type of grout affect both traction and cleaning. A slightly wider grout joint gives more texture underfoot, but if it's extremely wide or very rough, it can be hard to clean.
Sanded grout, unsanded, epoxy. Every type has pros and cons. Many modern grouts are stain-resistant and low maintenance, which I like for showers. Designers should call out the type they want in the spec, not just say grout by installer.
Homeowners, some good questions to ask your installer. What waterproofing system are you using? Are you following the manufacturer's instructions? How will you handle movement joints, those little flexible areas, so the floor doesn't crack over time?
Yeah, movement joints are not just for big commercial jobs. Changes in plane, like where the wall meets the floor or where the curb meets the floor, should not be filled with hard grout. You want a flexible sealant there so things can move a little without breaking. That keeps water out and the surface stable.
And waterproofing may not sound like a slip topic, but if water gets behind tile, things can loosen. You get hollow spots, cracked tiles. Suddenly you have uneven areas that feel sketchy under your feet. Long-term safety is about the whole assembly, not just the tile.
For designers listening, write clear notes. Specify minimum DCOF if you can, tile size and finish, grout joint size, grout type, slope requirements, and the waterproofing system. Don't just rely on a pretty rendering.
And homeowners, don't be shy about asking: are you experienced with shower pans and tile showers? It's totally fair to choose someone who does this kind of work often. A professional installation is part of your safety plan. So you've done it. You picked a great anti-slip tile, had it installed properly. Now how do you live with it so it stays safe and not just grimy?
Yeah, because even the best tile, if it is covered in soap, scum, and body oils, will feel slippery. Cleaning is not only about looks, it's about traction.
For textured and mosaic floors, a soft brush and a mild cleaner used regularly is your friend. Don't wait 6 months. A quick scrub once a week or whatever fits your routine keeps the texture open so your feet can grip.
Avoid very harsh chemicals or super strong acids unless the manufacturer says it's okay. They can damage grout, damage stone, and in the long term, even the glaze on some tiles. Always check the cleaner label against your tile type.
Porcelain is pretty low maintenance. Usually it doesn't need sealing, and it handles regular cleaners well, as long as they're not extreme. That's one reason I love porcelain mosaics for showers. You get function without a lot of drama.
Natural stone is different. Many stones, especially more porous ones, should be sealed and resealed periodically. The sealer helps resist stains, but it should be a product appropriate for wet areas and the specific stone. Too much sealer or the wrong kind can even leave a film that affects slip, so follow the product instructions.
Pebble floors are the same story times 10. Lots of grout, often natural stone pebbles. They can be beautiful, but you really want to commit to regular cleaning and, if recommended, resealing. Otherwise, they can darken and get a bit swampy.
If you start to feel the floor getting slick, don't ignore it. That's your sign. Time to clean. Sometimes just removing built-up conditioner or body wash makes a huge difference.
Let's wrap with a simple checklist so you can choose with confidence. I'll go through it, Bruno, and you jump in if I miss something.
Okay, let's do it.
Number 1, for the shower floor, look for tiles with a wet slip resistance rating, DCOF, around or above the typical recommended values for wet areas. If there's no data, be cautious.
Number 2, prefer matte, honed, or textured finishes over glossy for the floor. Glossy can go on the walls if you love the look.
Number 3, smaller tiles with more grout lines, like mosaics, usually give better traction and follow the slope to the drain more easily.
Number 4, think about maintenance. Porcelain is usually the lowest maintenance. Natural stone and pebbles need more cleaning and often sealing.
Number 5, talk to your installer or specify in your plans proper slope, minimal lippage, correct grout type, and a real waterproofing system with movement joints where needed.
And number 6, plan for simple, regular cleaning so the texture and grout can do their job. Don't let build-up steal your traction.
If you follow that list, you're already way ahead of most projects I get called in to fix.
Yeah, you avoid the beautiful but dangerous shower and you get beautiful and comfortable instead. Much better.
All right, that's it for today, Bruno. Thanks for nerding out on tile safety with me.
Grazie, Maria. Always a pleasure.
And thank you all for listening. Take care of your homes, take care of your feet in the shower, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Ciao, ciao, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Tile Choices Podcast, your go-to podcast for everything tile. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your fellow tile lovers. Got questions or a topic you'd like Bruno and Maria to cover? Visit us at tilechoices.com or connect with us on social media. Until next time, keep designing, keep dreaming, and remember, great spaces start from the ground up, one tile at a time.